beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sing 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, here the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson. The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, they're scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descended of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Blast.
Crumb TV.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sing 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, here the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson. The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, they're scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it.
It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descended of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.
Crumb TV.
Indeed. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. And welcome to another episode of Melanin Mondays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar. And that song that you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, that is Theta Waves, featuring the twin pillars, Red Pillar and Blue Pillar. All right. Yes. All right. Shout out to everybody in the building. Let's go. Okay. Salute to the family. The title of this episode is Bully. Shout out to Chicago Crypto Bully. But happy belated, beloved. You know what I'm talking about? I need to hit the Mo up because his birthday was on 4/4. Salute to Chicago Crypto. I got to get him on the platform very soon. There's definitely some things that we need to talk about. Not only me and Bully, but a few other the gods. It's time for a Voltron Council. It's time for a Voltron Council. Somebody said the mic is a little muffled. Hold on, let me make sure we are broadcasting through the right microphone. Check. 1, 2. Check. Microphone check. Make sure we clear up in this thing. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, or microphone check. 1, 2. Aries, Bully in the build. Right. I know it's an old song, but Theta Wave the hardest shit out right now. You know what I'm talking about? Look, I feel the same way. You know, music is classic, first of all. And the new world that we live in right now, music is timeless. There's no date. There's no date on music right now. Music is music. I know that feeling, for anything to really hit these days, it just gotta have that feeling. Whatever that feeling is, it just has. That's what people are looking for. So, we're gonna make sure that this single is gonna be very impactful. The same way that Prince, Scorpion King, Good Wife, Mimosa Samosa, China Flow, Sherman Hemsley, those are hits of ours that have gone somewhat, you know, from above whatever the underground that we occupy is. And then this one will be another one. You dig? And then we got some more heaters, you know, some more bangers, some more anthems. You know, the catalog is definite. And man, oh man, woo! The fact that there are some tools available right now that could create videos and enhance the sound and do all type of things, you have no idea. You know? All I gotta say that it is raining manna from the heavens. You feel me? It is raining manna from the heavens. You know? You're not allowed to expose too much of what's going on the in the 5D world. It's almost like a girl code or guy code. You know? But it's a lot going on. You know? It's not even a drizzle, you know? In the Aquarian age is raining manna from heaven. If niggas like the cold, then it's snowing. If you like the heat, then it's raining. You know? But it's definitely coming down. Don't get distracted. Don't, don't fall asleep right now. You feel me? Don't crash out right now. You feel me? Don't pull your shiesty right now. I beg of you. You know? Best thing that you got right now is your freedom. Your freedom to choose, your freedom to move around. Okay? That's the power. Yeah, big Aries energy. Big up to the Aries Mondem. Artemis is about to enter the moon's orbit in an hour with the good brother. He was getting moisturized. I saw a picture of that. All right. Artemis. But the fact that Ye names the album Bully, right? It's interesting. Okay. And the time that he drops it in Bully season, that right there, like I said, when we were talking about art, the last episode, okay? That is exactly what that means. Like I saw the curation of the Bully album. I was able to scroll past I was able to scroll past a page on IG, and I'm following some of the top curators in the planet, and they had a video where somebody was breaking down the Japanese influence on this whole entire project, from the font that you see right there to the picture, the reference of where the picture comes from. I learn a lot watching, I learn a lot just watching these quote unquote channels and whatnot, and following some of these creators to learn about the genius of geniuses. Like, I'm into things like that. That's like I'm in school when I'm sitting down just listening to the creative process and seeing how people source their references and just how painters paint, And once again, amidst all of the backlash that you might see, right, coming against this man from corporate America, British companies, corporate American companies, right, where they want to basically back out of the Wireless Festival that's in the UK, right? Coincidentally, the name of the way the poetic justice of it all, right? Like I say, the jokes write themselves. Pepsi, right? Pepsi Cola, right? The same Pepsi Cola that if you pour it on a pipe, it'll burn through it and whatnot. That Pepsi Cola that has contributed to all type of sicknesses, it's a very unhealthy product, and all of their subsidiaries and damn near everything that Pepsi represents. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people on the Epstein list who does business with Pepsi, holds stocks in Pepsi, and Pepsi is still supporting, and Pepsi's not backing out of. Then you have Diego, the spirit brand. They say, yeah, we're out of here too. So the spirits are backing out of the brand of another spirited brand, where this man is trying to get his spirit right, but these are quote unquote liquors and whatnot, and they want to back out, right? So, and then you have other brands that are exiting stage left. But when you look at what these brands represent, he's the antithesis to that brand. So they're showing their hypocrisy, as much as somebody may be like, oh, nah, that what they're doing is ethical and is right. Nah, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. If that was the case, then they would have to police every single artist that are on rosters, like a Rolling Loud. A bunch of sponsors should be backing out of that. If there's any artist that's up there who's responsible for killing another man, or there's even rumors on that person, or they're in, shit like that, or they've been convicted, and before y'all gonna judge what somebody said. And to be honest with you, This is an artist who's doing art. At the end of the day, this is an artist that's doing art. Nobody can tell Kanye West you can't go in the studio and record an album named Bully and put it out. I don't give a fuck what level of cancel or what a person think a cancel is. It's impossible to tell another person, a human being, an artist, an expressive person, an artiste at that nah, you can't record an album. Nobody wants to hear it, right? Then the man sells out the stadium twice at 80,000, and then they're like, yeah, his streams, or he sold 170,000 albums when he came out. How, Sway? He sold 80,000 back to back. That's just 160 right there in human artists. So what the hell? How the hell is his album not 7 quote unquote million sold? The album is not trash. Nah, I'm spinning the block with this album. The album is not trash, and everybody is entitled to their own opinions. Believe you me, I am not gonna get up here and start opening up a marketing budget and working for Donda tonight. I ain't doing that. But I'm not a hater. I am not a hater. I am a congratulator. I'm a curator. And I'm able to separate how I might see a person's persona with the art that they make. He's got Larry Jackson behind him. Larry Jackson is Gamma. Gamma is the multi-billion-dollar company that came out of the guy comes out of Apple. Larry Jackson. Go and watch his interview. If you're in the industry, is a must watch. You got to know who Larry Jackson is. You have to do the knowledge on Larry Jackson. Larry Jackson's relationship with Drake is why all of the artists are streaming right now. Facts. A black man did that. Larry Jackson sold Drake on the idea of the streaming in the same way that Liar Cohen sold. Who did he sell on the 360 deal? And that person locked everybody in. Who was that? Liar Cohen caught somebody's head. He captured somebody's crown. He beheaded one of these dudes and locked these niggas into the whole mindset of the 360, and they locked everybody else in. But Larry Jackson did that with Drake for the streaming shit, for Spotify and all of that. Larry Jackson, he's locked in. He's the reason. He's the machine. He's the silent machine behind Sexy Red, right? He got so the new record companies are not record companies, they're tech companies, right? The new record companies are necessarily data companies. So Gamma is more of a data company / distribution / tech company, right? That's why you were able to see Sexy Red everywhere, because they are masters at taking the data and geo-targeting, geolocating. He's using some of the more up-to-date, quote-unquote, formulas and, methods and whatnot to get his success. So the numbers that they're putting on to the Ye album, it doesn't make sense if he just sold out. You're selling concert tickets. You're not selling you know what I'm talking about? And I know people don't buy CDs anymore. And I know people are not buying physical copies of albums and things of that nature anymore. And and somehow you can't necessarily buy an album off of Spotify, right? You could just stream it. Now you can't own anything. But just to say that Son is only moving these amounts of units is a huge effing lie. I'm calling cap on that. That's Kaepernick. He shattered all of the quote unquote, remember, outside of anything else, because melanated people are throwing themselves in front of this whole Ye thing and everything, right? The most thing about the Ye is the shit that he said that he really crashed out about were true. The whole world is aware of that now. The man who he got on Alex Jones and was clowning when he had the mask on is called Satan Yahoo in many households now, right? Nobody said, oh, by the way, homie, you know that shit that you set off, you know, when you said it, it was wild uncomfortable, and we were so in our quote unquote, you know what I mean, we were so in our you know, we was in our Schindler's list. You know what I'm talking about? We niggas, Hiram was in the sunken place, nigga was in his shallow grave. You know what I'm talking about? You know, niggas was literally brain dead. You know, the juice boxes had you niggas underneath the spell. He was the first one to throw a rock to crack that shit, and it's been cracking ever since. You feel me? And it's been cracking ever since. It was cracking to the point where he didn't even have to put his hands on it anymore. He was able to sit back and apologize to niggas, kiss the yarmulke, say Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. You know what I'm talking about? And do the dance and whatnot and get back in bed with these niggas while their whole shit started falling apart. Right? Remember, Fire Bun, he was able to chant them down with pure truths that even every single time that they struck him, every single time that they quote unquote crucified him and nailed him to the cross, every single time that they flogged him and whatnot, every single time that they humiliated him in the public, it was like when they did to Yeshua. It was like that they've done to all of the freedom fighters. We could go down a list of the people who they basically was able to ridicule and to drag through towns and whatnot, put heads on pikes and whatnot, quarter them, chop them up, you know, do all type of shit. Are you serious? Put them on stakes, my nigga. Yeah, the prophets. You know what I'm talking about? This shit has been going on for a very long time. It's not just sunning them. It's sunning them. You know what I'm talking about? They've been bumping up against people who have they have that spirit in them to go up against these motherfuckers since the Roman days. So although they made him kneel and whatnot, although they made him quote unquote, you know, they kind of like, you know, pushed him to the point where they silenced him. In a sense, they never did silence him, and his legendary status has even been more secure. You know what I was talking about last night about the immortals, right? Or about immortalizing oneself by living out what is called the mythos. By living out the mythos. So he is embodying the mythos. He is living it out to the fullest extent, regardless of what people may think about him or not. So there's no such thing as cancel culture. And like I said before, he was allegedly canceled for talking about the juice boxes, but he can't get canceled because he was telling niggas the truth. Prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. Right? So he has resurrected. His career is more lit. He could actually do a concert the day of the Wireless Festival, and it would be more people at his concert. They're only making him bigger by backing out. They're only making him a legend in the UK. Now he's going to be able to do what? Tap in on some more messianic type shit, because from the looks of things, look like he got his head on a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? I can't trust that nigga, because you know it's chaos magic and whatnot. It's not predictable. You shouldn't want to, you know what I mean? I shouldn't need to trust him. I shouldn't need to trust him. He's an artist. I trust that whatever the fuck he's doing, it is centered in his artistry. I do trust that. And there's no such thing. There's no definable term or definition of sanity these days. Post 2020, that you can't define normal anymore. So what everybody's trying to call, oh, that nigga's not normal. Well, show me somebody that's normal. Show me somebody that's normal. You know? But I tell you this, that art is the great equalizer, and there's nothing that anyone can do to cancel art. You could cancel the person that makes the art. That's one thing. You know what I mean? You could even lock that person up. You could go as far as killing that person, assassinating that person, like some of our artists has happened to them, like the Young Dolphs of the world, Ashe, like the Nipsey Hustles of the world. They were assassinated. Mo 3 was assassinated on the Texas highway. He wasn't murdered. Those young drill rappers in Chicago, they was assassinated in those alleys and whatnot. Because you don't know what they would have became in about 20 years or even 2 years or even 3 or 10 or whatever. But a lot of them had potential. Marvin Gaye, you know what I'm talking about? Biggie and Pac, you know? The music is where the power rests. There's nothing, not to say that there's nothing more powerful, but think about the music. Think of the music like the Wi-Fi. You know, where we trying to connect to a strong signal and whatnot, right? Take off. The music is like the Wi-Fi. We could all connect to the Wi-Fi wherever we are. And then by connecting to the Wi-Fi, we connect to the tribe-fi. You know what I'm talking about? We connect. Man, don't be on some shrooms and whatnot, and you listening to the music of people who are ancestors and whatnot, or don't you start listening to a playlist of some music that you grew up listening to, you're gonna go through a time portal. You're gonna open up a time portal. You're going to be able to time travel. You could tap into your flow state. You could tap into a space where time doesn't even exist. Don't start dancing. Don't turn into a twirling dervish. Don't start twerking and opening up all type of portals and whatnot. Don't start moving and whatnot. Don't tap into some type of rhythm. Oh, nah, now you're doing ceremony. You know what I'm talking about? Don't have some sacraments. Don't have some spirits. Don't have some sexual energy from the opposite sex that is like a yin and a yang, like a true battery. Because when all of those elements are in the same space at the same time, that's where, that's what you see in those stadiums. That's what you see in those arenas. That's what you see in those bars. That's what you see in those clubs, those discotheques, those strip clubs, those gentlemen's clubs. You know what I'm saying? Those hookah bars. Everywhere where that setting is created is where the magic is. And the movie Center just showed it to you in the juke joint. There was a slaughterhouse turned juke joint, right? Man, yo, when I listened to, I don't think that I've even wrapped my mind around what Prodigy was really on before he made transition. He's one of the other ones that his potential was so great. I feel like when I look at the list of all of the people who was in the industry, the ones who had the Messiah energy, because niggas die every day, B, and I can't necessarily, you know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. That's the natural process of life. But the ones that were messianic, and when I say messianic, I don't mean that they were Christian. I don't mean that they were Christ-like. I don't mean that they were quote unquote what you would deem positive. These may be the anti-hero. These may be archangels and not necessarily angels. These may be people who are living through their rights before they even could become lighter, or before they could become who they truly were. They got cut down. Young Dolph. Nobody really saw Young Dolph fulfill his potential. Biggie died 3 years after he came out, bro. So even though his potential was felt, his 30-year, we didn't feel the 30-year artistry of him. We didn't experience at least a 30-year. You're supposed to experience a 30-year cycle, a 30-year minimum, right? ODB left. XXXTentacion was just about to come out of his cocoon, y'all. Nipsey was just about to come out of his cocoon. He was building up. This is a buildup. It just don't happen overnight. They were building up in order to do what? Go nuclear. Go super saiyan. right? They was popping, but they didn't go nuclear yet, right? When the shit is the mushroom cloud, Juice World, the buildup, still popping, super lit, you know what I mean? Classics and all, bangers and all, but the opportunity, that shit did not hit yet, and they got taken out. Mo 3, Pop Smoke. Right? So it's like there's so many people that fit that description that are not rappers, that are not artists, that are not signed to the label, that didn't have mixtapes and albums. It's a bunch of people like that, unfulfilled potential. So we got to know what's you know what I mean? Like there's so man, that deserves a deeper dive. That deserves a deeper dive, cuz I'm not one that'll get up here and play with no narrative and no topic like that, and I'm not giving you all of the receipts, and I'm bringing the science to this. I'm going to bring the science, I'm going to bring the metaphysics, I'm going to bring the research. I'm just giving you some insight as to what the research is researching. But none of this is random. The power is in the music. So in Sinners, with the scene with Sammy, that's what they were letting you know, that this is where the portals are opened up. This is where the magic happens. It's not just the music, it's all of the above. It's the entire situation in the ritual inside of that quote unquote juke joint, or wherever we have, wherever we gather. Wherever we gather and put it down at. You saw how they put the juke joint together by just coming together, and everybody had a part to play, and everybody added their energy and their light and their sauce and their juice, and they turned that bitch into a party. It's a party. They didn't need nobody permission. They put that shit together with motion, theta waves, masterminds. They had the twins had motion. And then when our people get in motion, when they hear the drum, you feel me? When they hear this, when they hear the hymns and whatnot, when they get to dancing, when they get to moving, when they get to vibrating, that's where the magic happens. That's where you cast your spell. That's where you find the love of your life or the love of the night. That's where you cast your spell. That's why the girl Perniphone, she represented the quote unquote, was it KT that broke that down? Somebody came and broke that all the way down. I believe it was KT. Right? Inside of the juke joint is where the juking gets to juking. It's a quantum realm. You know? Shit goes quantum. Portals open. The ovals, those hips. You know what I mean? The derriere. Look at the perfect symmetry on a woman's body, the sacred geometry of a woman's body, especially the curvaceous ones. You know what I'm talking about? That's the shit that helped the spaceships exit the quote unquote, the allegedly the atmosphere. The science. You know? Women are magical. Dr. Ben said that the gates of heaven is through the portals of a black woman's thighs. Yeah, mounds on mounds, right? Sacred geometry. And then when you're dancing to the ones and the twos and the whatnot, the footwork is a mathematical equation. The drums are on a mathematical equation. It's all algorithms, y'all. Really, it's all algorithms. It's unlocking different things. If you were able to see what it's doing in a different type of, we're seeing things because we could only see a certain amount of light spectrum through our eyes and whatnot. But in the future, they're gonna have glasses, the AR VR glasses, where you'll be able to see multiple layers of the light waves and whatnot, and you'll see inside of a ceremony or inside of a discotheque or inside of where people are doing all of these things. It's like if you're coding right now with Claude Code or with any one of the no code things and the no code tools and whatnot, if you don't put all of the ingredients in, your code will not function. It will not work properly. It's the same thing in some of these functions and whatnot. If you don't have all of the elements and all of the code, it will not, quote unquote, you'll still have bugs and whatnot. You got to have sacraments on deck. There has to be some form of smoke. It doesn't have to be marijuana and whatnot, but some form of smoke, cigars, sacraments on deck. You got to have the spirits on deck, right? Bobby Hemmett with the motherfucking liquor in all directions and whatnot, tapping in with the spirits. I'm talking about the spirits. Spirits got to be on deck, right? You got to have the drum, my genius. The drum has to be present. It has to be the drum, either the drum and the music, people hitting the drum, ceremonies and whatnot. The drum plays a part. Then you have the two genders. It can't be all men and it can't be all women. Sorry, the all women's retreats and whatnot. Y'all need some type of balance and whatnot. And the male energy is in homegirl named Tay J. That's not gonna help it. Teddy with the two pigtails, shorty from zone 6. Did this like a dude? Nah, we talking about divine masculine energy to balance that shit for the ritual to take place. And for the fellas, it can't be it can't be the men's night and y'all doing magic. It don't work like that. There has to be a balance, yin and yang. You know what I'm saying? Properly, yin and yang, or you opening up shit with Moloch in them. You gonna be balling with ball in them. You know what I'm talking about? You outside with balling these niggas. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So a divine balance will open up the portals as you saw in Sinners. Shout out to Ryan Coogler. There's a template right there. We don't have to make it, you know what I mean? I can't wait for part 2. Nah. Part 1 is enough for you to utilize your motherfucking magic right now. Go work on that. That gave you mad gems. It told you stop letting the devil in. It told you that the music is where the magic is. So make sure that you are refining your playlist. You feel me? And it also say gather and do ceremony and open up the portals and enjoy different cultures and different sounds and different musics, because it will transport you to different time zones and different planes of existence and different mythos. You know what I mean? How do you think you're gonna go online to a Mesoamerican quote unquote timeline if you're not letting the music open it up for you? How do you get into that? How do you even get into that mind state? How do you get into that portal? By what? Eating a taco, right? That's not how it happens. You listen to the music and that walks you into their world. That walks you into, and their world has a culture to it. And if the music if the music is truly enriched, if the music is obeying the quote unquote rules and the instructions of what the music represents, then it would be rich and culturally rich, laden with cultural references, cultural tokens of appreciation, languages, right? What they call accents, right? Vernacular, cadences, right? Lore, folklore, all type of shit. Personas, right? Like when you listening to the West Coast, they brought you into the West Coast universe. Remember, I'm a comic book nigga. I come out of the comic book world. So I'm a comic book minded. I was comic book minded, and so is my entire generation. So remember, early hip hop was it was interwoven with the comic books, right? Swinging through your town like the neighborhood Spider Man. Everything that Wu Tang was talking about in the beginning had comic book references. This is how we speak. So when you hear somebody speaking your language, it doesn't matter what part of the world that you're in, it doesn't matter where you are and whatnot. You understand that person is speaking to you because that is something that everybody doesn't, that everybody don't speak like that because everybody doesn't have that experience, you know. But there's an interesting juxtaposition of fantasy, right? Our imaginations as children and whatnot, which tie into our imaginations of when we were children before this generation or before this timeline or before this epoch that we're in. Because remember, we was doing the version of cartoons and comic books. We had different versions of that, and that's like the Bible. The Bible is a comic book for the ancestors, like a graphic novel, you know, of the highest form, right? But yeah, Reggie Noble, Redman was Superman lover, right? Method Man was he was always kicking the comic book bars. Yes, Ye is inspired by Akira. That's where he got the spinning globe. He also got the power video. He's been referencing Akira throughout his whole career, going right back to what we're saying about artists. An artist speaks in a designer language. Artists they speak to you through their art. An artist is allowed to be crazy. An artist is allowed to be what you would call a hater. An artist is allowed to be flawed. An artist, as long as they could create art out of it, they are uncancelable, untouchable, unfuckwittable. If the art is arting, there's nothing that you can say about that because that is the rules of art. We're free to express ourselves. So even if he had a song called Hail Hitler, he's free to express himself. Nobody, you can't get mad at nobody making no songs if there's songs out here where there's on somebody's gravesite urinating on it, and Liar Cohen played that on YouTube and allowed it to get 500 million spins. I do. Let's stop with the hypocrite shit. There's songs where they got these kids like Tuka, right? They got Tuka, who was 15 years old, got killed at a bus stop in Chicago, and he appears in about 2,500 songs, and they're dissing him, talking about they're smoking on Tuka, and his mother had to hear every single song that her son's name is on because the people that make the song send it to her. Why did nobody talk about that? And that's something they'll get on Adam 22, they'll get on Vlad, they'll get on podcasts and brag about that shit. The niggas that send the songs out, and they got videos that are in the millions. That's what they're doing. That's just one kid. There's 1,000+ cases of that, to the point where there's whole Facebook groups of mothers of the killed rappers who talk about the fact that they're getting taunted by people putting their sons' names in their songs, in their images, and all type of shit. Yeah, like YBC Duel, super disrespectful before he got killed. Extremely disrespectful. Had a public beef with one of the mothers of a kid that he killed, and was wild disrespectful. And these kids are viral, and they mad at La Russell and whatnot because he said that Epstein was heaven sent, and he said that these other people were heaven sent. But I heard nobody say, "Yo, let's cancel the drill rappers out of Philadelphia. Them niggas is at war right now, and some of them are 16 and 17 and 18. Y'all seen what happened at 404 Day in Atlanta? I don't even want to pull the video up and whatnot. I don't even want to pull the video up and whatnot and show you the shootout that was going on in Piedmont Park. You know what I'm talking about? A park that we've been in Piedmont Park doing events on many occasions, but events like the Jazz Fest, events like the Jazz Fest. Yeah, they got Mama Duck out there. People arguing with Mama Duck. She's arguing back, talking crazy. Bloodhound Jeff, they was talking crazy about their ops. He got bodied. They start talking crazy about him. Now his cousin Q50 and them is going crazy. This is all in the public. This shit like the Coliseum. It's a part of the deaf culture. It's a part of aesthetic nihilism. It's a part of you. And they got the nerve to say cancel culture. And these are the people that like Erica Kirk will walk out to in her conventions. That's how Drewski was able to embarrass her and whatnot. She's opening up. They got her coming out sometime to drill songs and whatnot. But you don't understand what drill music represents. If nobody addresses the drill culture, and what it really represents, then that is of supreme that is of supreme quote unquote biasness. That has to be some real high biasness. You really gotta be I'm not gonna do the hypocrite shit. Y'all are praising people who are real life killing people for no reason, but ain't say no thing. I don't hear they don't take enough Percocets to make them make a song about Epstein and nobody. They ain't made a song about green lighting the opportunities, right? I never heard none of that. I ain't heard none of that. But it's a campaign against everybody melanated. It's Hunger Games. You feel me? It's just the Squid Games. Niggas will sit around and poly market one of these artists to get their brains put on a carpet, right? Before there was a poly market, they were on Black Twitter. They were on Snapchat. They was on Facebook and other places putting bets on what rappers would be killed. You do know this. And this is what a bunch of the what they call the YNs, the youth and whatnot. They grew up being exposed to all of that. They grew up being exposed to all of that. So I'm like, it's a lot of hypocrisy going on right now. Don't be fooled. That's a distraction. It's not real. Niggas can't cancel nobody. They just act sassy towards people that they don't like because they're going against their conformity and they're making them uncomfortable in their unconformity. They're not playing along. And because so many people are attached to the hive mind right now, and they are so consumed in this hive mind thinking and whatnot, they'll feel attacked if you're not down with the spell that they're under. And that's crazy. I was looking for that Atlanta footage, but I don't see it. But it was a shootout. A young 16-year-old black girl. She got killed. I heard they had pictures of her on the internet. And look, in New York City, I talked about the Labor Day festival, right? Matter of fact, let me pull that video. I ain't gonna pull the video of nobody getting shot, but I'm gonna just. These kids is shit sound like Iraq. Every culture is wilder than the culture that preceded it, right? Every culture is wilder than the culture that preceded it. And these kids, they wild as hell. And they wild violent. They are of the extreme violent. They are they're at some extremes of the violence. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that everybody should know. So I don't want to spend time talking down on them. and wagging my finger at them and saying, oh, they're parents and da 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 da. You know, what I would do is I would start brainstorming with other parents as to what are the solutions that we could offer these children who have a lot of energy. They have a lot of quote unquote anger, but they're good kids. You know what I'm saying? They're good kids and they're active. You know what I mean? Because the culture told them to get active. You feel me? Because we was active because the culture was telling us to get active. So when I see them getting active, I know what it is, and I'm not gonna judge them on that. A lot of them have even been misled. It's just, it is what it is. It is what it is. I can think of, right? But they got potential. There's some of them that got potential. But what I do know is that culture, that shit needs to be disrupted. Just that crash out culture, that aimless shit, that just that just being super ignorant and being comfortable in your ignorance. Now, at the end of the day, I know that that's something that once again, when you were 16, were you ignorant? By a show of hands, press 1 if you was on some ignorant shit when you was 16, 17, and 18. Right? Because in New York City, we have an annual killing at the Labor Day parade. There's always somebody that gets sent up on the altar because literally that's just what it is. They're getting sacrificed and they're getting sent up on the altar. It's a blood sacrifice to like a Moloch, right? So this 404 day is turning into a blood sacrifice because there's at least one death. So if these carnivals is always taking lives, Juve is always taking lives, they want a body, you know? So that feeds whatever deity or whatever entity is being summoned and whatnot. But we was always on our wild shit. We was flirting with death, my nigga. That shit was heroic to us. We got a thrill of it. And we was looking for the ignorant shit. We were hunting it down. So when I see them wilding and whatnot, I'm just like, you know what? We gotta put it into perspective. You know what I mean? There is a perspective to it, unbeknownst to how many may see it. And I am not co-signing it. I'm not one of these elders that are trying to appeal to the youth by trying to act like what they're doing doesn't need to be policed. I'm here to say that they need some discipline, right? And the best way that we could bring discipline is to bring opportunities. Because when I was coming up and I was ignorant, we had a certain respect for people who we were like, yo, these people are business people and they just want to help us by doing business with us. You know what I mean? We were looking for people that believed in us and had money to spend on us and money to help us out of our situation. You know what I mean? And it will help put us on. So if our people become that, then I think that we'll be able to reach them, faster than if we try to chastise them or ostracize them or make them feel like they're not welcome in our world. I think that's a bad move right there. Cause like I said, some of them might be demons, but a lot of them was good kids. Bad city. The NYPD test they shit on the Parkway. You feel me? It's the NYPD and the juice boxes. Them together, I think they be doing some type of they be sending out some type of ELF waves and whatnot and be having people, they be triggering some of them people and whatnot to kill shit. And then now when I do the science and I'm learning that the cartel was in bed with Is It Real? And I know that some of the Jamaican, the gangs and whatnot are in bed with Is It Real? Even if they don't know that they in bed with Is It Real, sometimes they in bed with Is It Real through a third party and whatnot. But Is It Real is the hand behind, some of these informants. They got their hands behind a lot of these rats and whatnot, these triple agents and shit like that. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, so they are the trickster gods. Once again, Kaiser Sose. right? Bringing confusion. They are Hyman Roth and whatnot, the old scheming type. You know what I'm talking about? Frequency warfare, and they're in the hoods and whatnot, and they just waving niggas down and whatnot, organ harvesting. You feel me? Gang stalking and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? Kidnapping and shit. You feel me? All type of shit. Sex traffic. You gotta say mex trafficking. I don't want my video to be demonetized. Mex trafficking. Right? So they doing a lot of shit out here. You know? Remember, oh my goodness. Let me pull this article up. These boys is wild, crazy. They had an article where they uncovered a hitman team where these niggas was doing hits for the UAE. Who heard about that story? A multi-billionaire, he had a mansion with mad hitmen in the mansion. He had a whole hit squad, right? He had a whole hit squad, and they was doing hits. They would pick them up, and they would have private planes, and on the weekends they would go and body shit, right? And we talked about this before, but a story just broke directly about that. I'm gonna look for it. I might have, if I don't get it tonight, we're gonna cover it at the next show. But yeah, shit crazy. Let's go and listen to some of these clips. Let's get into some of these clips, y'all. Yeah, feel me? Let's get into, because we clipped up tonight. We clipped up. I'm gonna get into the Donald shit in a minute, but let's get into some of it. Matter of fact, let me get to the Donald shit right now. Let me get Bully out the way. Let's get Bully out the way, man.
Country could be taken out in one night. The entire country could be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night.
So which is it? Are you winding this down,
Can't tell you.
or are you escalating
I can't tell
it?
you. I don't know. I can't tell you. Depends what they do. This is a critical period. They have a period of, well, till tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I gave them an extension. They asked for an extension of 7 days, right? I said, Steve, give them 10 days. 10 days is up actually today, so I gave them 11, I guess, indirectly. I thought it was inappropriate the day after Easter. I want to be a nice person. They have till tomorrow. Now, we'll see what happens. I can tell you they're negotiating, we think, in good faith. We're going to find out. We're getting the help of some incredible countries that want this to be ended because it affects them also. A lot of people are affected by this. But we're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And after that, they're going to have no bridges. They're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah.
In order for Iran to successfully meet your deadline tomorrow, do they have to make a deal, open the strait, or both?
We have to have a deal that's acceptable to me. And part of that deal is going to be we want free traffic of oil and everything else.
Are
What's
you
going on
concerned
with
that your threat to bomb power plants and bridges amount to
No, not at all.
crimes?
No. I hope I don't have to do it. They're very good bullshit artists. That's why for 47 years they've been bullshitting other presidents, and they haven't done the job. And people are living in hell. You live in that country, they're living in hell. No, I think that 47 years of this stuff is long enough.
Now, Donald Trump just finished one of the most unhinged press conferences that I think I've seen of him of a long time. Everything from him claiming that he may run for president of Venezuela, to threatening to jail a journalist, to sending Iran back to the Stone Age, and much more. Let me break it down for you in under 2 minutes. Donald Trump's press conference was concerning the war in Iran, and specifically the operation to rescue the service member in Iran. It started on message, and then he went to start threatening to jail a journalist of a media company, a company that reported that there was a second service member that had not yet been rescued. And he wants to know who leaked that information to the journalist, and the journalist doesn't give it up. He will jail that journalist. Can't do that. Then he went on to say that he may consider running for president of Venezuela. I'm serious. I'm not making this up, because he has highest poll numbers in Venezuela he's ever seen. He's great at language. He says he's going to learn Spanish and potentially run, probably being a little facetious over there. He said that Kim Jong-un called Joe Biden a mentally R-word person and proceeded to repeat that multiple times. says that he doesn't want to talk about what's off limits, but that by 12 o'clock midnight tomorrow night, he could theoretically bomb all power plants and bridges in Iran. And he was asked about his own mental health being examined and says he hasn't heard about any issues with his own mental health. Quote, "You're going to have more people like me." Spread the word, follow for more.
Yo, breaking news. That was one of the most hilarious press conferences I've ever watched in my entire life. I'm only 28 years old, and that shit was comical. Pete Hegseth said, a pilot shot down Friday, Good Friday, hidden away in a cave on Saturday, then rescued on Sunday, Easter Sunday. A soldier reborn. Everybody, please, for the love of God, let me tell you. This administration is a fucking joke. Yo, this shit is like not even funny no more. Like, it's like the only reaction you can do is laugh, dog. I've been crying laughing for the last 30 minutes, dog, between the handheld, shoulder missile.
So they're saying that they really went inside of Iran and did a hit yesterday. While they were saying that they were trying to rescue the pilot, they were really going in there and taking more resources and whatnot.
Is collapsing. If the war in Iran continues even just until the end of April, Kuwait's economy is predicted to decline by 14% for all of 2026. For comparison, the worst performing economy last year, which was Haiti, declined by only 3%. Even before the war, though, Kuwait's economy wasn't doing the best, with very little or no economic growth for the last 10 years. But to make matters worse, the war is not going to end at the end of April. I believe it's going to continue until 2027, but for what it's worth, around half of people on Polymarket think it's going to continue for at least another 3 months. What you're going to see for Kuwait is an economic collapse that is even worse than the Great Depression. One of the reasons for this, of course, is because oil and gas production, which accounts for 43% of the country's economy, has declined by at least 20%. But it's getting worse because at the time that I'm filming, for instance, the Mina Al Amadi refinery, which is one of the largest oil facilities in Kuwait and is responsible for 17% of oil production, has been hit by Iran. Same thing, for instance, with the headquarters of the Kuwait's Ministry of Oil. And this is huge because oil is also responsible for roughly 90% of the Kuwait government's revenue, which means over time you're going to see less government services provided to the common person. Now, data is not yet out regarding inflation for Kuwait, but we do know that for Gulf states, which includes Kuwait, the price of goods has increased by roughly 40 to 120%. In addition, we're also seeing large waves of people fleeing Kuwait, with of course the United States and other countries making evacuation orders. But rather than help people out, the Kuwait government has actually stripped 42,000 people of their citizenship. Kuwait's population was already in decline last year, but with over 2/3 of the population being foreign-born, many are now already reporting that many of these people have left and the streets of Kuwait are empty. So for all these reasons, because of course of the effects on the economy, the oil production being hit, and of course the people fleeing along with inflation, Kuwait is entering a situation where it is facing potential collapse. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and comment. I want to hear from you what you think. And please, of course, follow me. It makes a big difference. Cheers.
News right now. This is video from Sharif University in Tehran, Iran, following intense bombings by the United States and Israel overnight. This is Iran's top science and engineering institution, and as one American congresswoman put it, it's akin to the American MIT, completely destroyed. Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari, who is an Iranian American, one of the only Iranian American members of Congress, says Sharif University is Iran's MIT. They've produced a huge number of engineers who've gone onto Silicon Valley and founded some of the most successful American tech companies. Why are we bombing a university in a city of 10 million people? It comes this morning as Israel strikes on Iran are escalating, targeting petrochemical facilities across the country. Israel has struck Iran's largest petrochemical facility this morning. There was a fire that was since brought under control. We're now nearing Donald Trump's deadline of tomorrow at 8 p.m. There are no negotiations happening right now. We'll see what happens next, but this is serious. Spread the word, follow along for more.
I literally just got finished watching a video where one of the Iranian tribesmen described the moment where one of the fighter jets flew over his home and his children were able to hear the engines from the fighter jets. That's how low of an altitude they were flying. Like, it was causing shaking to their home. And he went outside with his rifle. He did the interview with his rifle, the exact same rifle that he used to shoot through the window of that fighter jet. He shot through the window 3 times and shot into different parts of the fighter jet before it ended up crashing and burning. So they had every intention on flying at low altitudes in Iran and killing as many people as they possibly could, because they thought that those tribes people out there, that they were either stupid, unequipped, or just were no match for their fighter jets. Except one of the things that they completely just went over their heads is that these motherfuckers know how to fight. They ain't nothing to play with. They ain't nothing to fuck around with, okay? They tribesmen for a reason. You understand what I'm saying? They choose to live their lifestyle for a reason, which means they have elite survival skills. They know how to take care of their families. They know how to protect themselves, and they're not scared of shit. So they shot the shit out of our fighter jets. And that is what the boneyard is. Though they have been flying at low altitudes in those areas for a reason, because they're trying to push the line and trying to find ways to clear out that area. They're attacking schools, they're attacking homes, they're attacking hospitals, they're attacking research centers, anything that they can try and get to in close proximity to, they're trying to attack. And those tribesmen had every right to shoot those fighter jets out the sky. They had every right.
Fuck the news and good morning. A new Lego video dropped.
They turning that Lego shit up, huh? They got Legoland lit right now. You know what I'm talking about? They got Legoland lit.
Completely exposes the truth about what's going on. Okay, someone put together this video which completely exposes the truth about what's going on with Iran, with this whole conflict. His name is Solar Cast Archive. And you need to hear this because it is literally what's going on. There's all kinds of stuff you can get wrapped around the axle thinking it's because Trump, it's because Iran, it's because Israel. Listen to this because this is the real reason behind this conflict.
The 2026 Iran war is not about nuclear weapons or freedom. It is a manufactured crisis designed to spike oil prices and lock in the next phase of control.
That's a heavy claim. Walk me through the receipts.
Oil prices jumped over 40% in the first few weeks, exactly like 1973, 1991, 2003, and 2011. Every major Middle East conflict conveniently creates an oil shock.
You're saying the pain is intentional?
Yes. Then they roll out the solution, electric vehicles. They tell you EVs will save you from high gas prices.
But most people can't afford a $50,000 electric car when everything is already expensive. So what happens when they can't buy the EVs either?
Exactly. Then comes the next step they already have planned. 15-minute cities. Everything you need. Food, work, healthcare, locked inside a small zone. Your movement, spending, and behavior scored by AI in real time.
This is convenience disguised as a cage.
Precisely. Higher oil prices create the crisis. EVs offer the expensive trap. 15-minute cities finish the job. This is not random foreign policy. It is economic warfare.
Now, don't expect to see that information written in any mainstream news anywhere because, well, that would be them revealing the truth, which they often do not do.
Now, I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you they do not want you to be of sound mind and sound body today. They want you full of strange chemicals and GMOs. And right now, chalk is...
यार एक बार पढ़ो तो सही. पीट हेगसेथ डिफेंस सेक्रेटरी अमेरिका के वहां के डिफेंस मिनिस्टर कहते हैं कि इनटू द स्टोन एज ईरान, हम तुम्हें स्टोन एज पहुंचा देंगे. ईरानी भी भाई फुल मस्ती कर रहे हैं. ईरानियन एम्बेसी है साउथ अफ्रीका में, वो कह रही है अच्छा स्टोन एज. कहते भाई जब तुम्हारा देश जब पैदा हुआ ना उसके 2500 साल पहले हमारे महाराजा साइरस द ग्रेट लोगों को फंडामेंटल राइट्स दिला रहे थे.
So Trump got on this bully shit and said that he was gonna bomb them in the Stone Ages. So they came back with the Smack DVD rebuttal and was like, at a time when you were still in caves searching for fire, we were inscribing human rights on the Cyrus cylinder. We endured the storm of Alexander and the Mongol invasions and remain because Iran is not just a country, it's a civilization. Pistol Pete said he was gonna bomb them back to the Stone Age. They got bars.
सबसे महानतम राजाओं में से एक माना जाता है साइरस द ग्रेट. साइरस द सेकंड बोलते हैं. तो वो कहते हैं भाई उसका ये सिलेंडर है ना, ये सिलेंडर देखो जो आपने चुरा के लंदन में.
They had this 2,500 years ago, right? The first attempt that we know about running a society, a state with different nationalities and faiths.
रखा हुआ. वैसे इसमें ना लोगों के फंडामेंटल राइट्स के भाई किसी भी धर्म के, किसी भी आप फेथ के हो सकते हो, मेरे राज्य में सुरक्षित हो आप कहते. इस पे लिख के रखा हुआ था उसने. कहते स्टोन एज पहुंचाएंगे हमें. तो लोग यहाँ पे ब्रोंज की कैटल की फोटो पोस्ट कर रहे हैं. कहते भाई ब्रोंज की कैटल.
This teapot is 2,600 years older than the United States. They popping it. They popping it. Right? The Zagros Mountains. Right? It's in the cradle of civilization. These are the places that they're bombing, though. Keep that in mind. These are the places that it's bombing. And in Iran, right, they are highly educated, often appearing fourth with scores around 104 to 106 in international studies and whatnot. A majority of them are PhDs. They have a lot of women over there that are PhDs as well. You know what I'm talking about? They not lacking like that in the brain department. This is not a dead country. You know, that ass whooping is severe. You know what I'm saying? That ass whooping that they putting on them boys is severe. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. All right.
Okay, someone put together this video, which completely.
All right. Let me see. Let us begin to pivot. I want to go back and talk about this Ye thing real quick, y'all. I want to talk about this Ye thing. Let's have this conversation.
I'm pissed off today. I seen Kanye West in a motherfucking stadium last night with about 70,000 people, and they talking about he on pace to do 100,000 copies first week. The fuck you mean? It was just 70,000 people in LA, and they talk about he on pace to do 100,000 first week. Nigga, you telling me them 70,000 people ain't listened to that album more than once? Play the song more than once? Some ain't right about how these streams is getting calculated, and we gotta figure out what the fuck that is. Something is not right. Something is not the fuck right. How is it a nigga could get 70,000 fucking people in a stadium, but he's on course to do 100,000 streams the first week? How are they even counting these motherfucking streams? Because everybody's streams is different. The bigger the artist you are, the more your payout is. You get more money.
This gathering in Beijing hosting about the series finale of Moesha. Pepsi and Diageo have pulled out of Wireless Festival ahead of Kanye West headlining. But what's actually really being highlighted here is a big why. Not why brands wouldn't want to be associated with anti-Semitism. Come on. That's not really up for debate, is it? We'll be clear, anti-Semitism is harmful and wrong. And once you acknowledge that, it raises another question. Is this about risk or power? Because if this is about harm, why is it that only certain types of harm seem to trigger immediate financial consequences? Because when corporate money moves this fast, it's rarely just about what was actually being said. It's also about how that risk is interpreted, how far it travels, and what it exposes brands to. Ye's anti-Semitic remarks moved into a category that is globally recognized, legally sensitive, and institutionally enforced, meaning that brands are not only reacting to the statement itself, but also to regulatory pressure, shareholder expectations, and how that association is judged across multiple markets. So let's ask the bigger question. What actually makes corporate money move? I mean, drill, rap music has narrated violence in black communities for years and brands stayed in the building, right? FIFA World Cup hosted a tournament with documented worker deaths and sponsors renewed their deals. And across football and more broadly, brands have continued to sponsor environments where racism has been reported repeatedly without the same immediate withdrawal of capital. But anti-Semitism triggered an immediate corporate exit. The question isn't whether one is worse than the other. It's what has to be true about a category of harm for corporate money to actually move. Now, here's where it shifts. Tottenham Hotspur recently were reported to have distanced from hosting him. This is no longer just marketing. This is infrastructure protecting itself. And that's when you know risk has escalated. Now, if I'm advising Wireless, I'm not panicking. I'm repositioning. First, replace corporate money with aligned money. Challenger brands, creator-led businesses, culture-first companies that benefit from proximity rather than safety. Second, monetize attention directly. Live streams, exclusive content, global access, because the audience hasn't gone anywhere. Third, break the sponsorship model. Stop relying on a few large partners and rebuild across multiple smaller deals. For example, stage partners, creator-led activations, and paid live stream slots. So no single sponsor holds the power, because the moment one brand can't pull out and destabilize you, you've taken back control. There's also a deeper insight. Cancellation only works when capital, distribution, and infrastructure move together. If the audience stays and the new money replaces old money, then this isn't cancellation, it's a reallocation of power. And if Wireless pulls this off, brands stop leading culture and start following it. What are your thoughts though?
Yeah, talk that talk. You know, talk that talk. If these corporations are going to take a stance like that, than anything connected to Epstein or any of that shit. You know what I mean? They need to move on that immediately, because other than that, that's pure hypocrisy. Pure hypocrisy, you know? Yeah, remember that Atlanta shit that I was telling y'all about? Yeah, Atlanta, 4-4 day.
Y'all gonna pee in my park, man. They said 2 people got shot. 1 dead. Lord. Can we all just get along?
Bro. What the fuck just happened? Bro. That's why we can't have nice things.
What the fuck? Oh my God! Oh shit! Hello, come here. What the fuck? What's the name of them go? So I don't even know. Why they just let Star Mark let them bitches real, nigga? What the hell?
The white man set the system up and implemented the system. We perpetuate it. If I see it's a fucking trap, right there. Oh, this is a trap. Say, my nigga, this is a trap. It's a trap. And I still walk. You're a stupid bitch ass nigga. You still walk and go step in it, and then you want to say, oh, the white man laid a trap. Bitch ass nigga, you saw it was a trap. Hoe ass nigga, you told me it was a trap. But yet you still fell for it. So yeah, a nigga get exactly what the fuck everything we fucking deserve, my nigga. Because we got the motherfucking power to end all of our problems right now. That's why, nigga, ain't none of these motherfucking leaders worth shit. We have not had a leader serious about leading us up out of poverty and oppression. We had Malcolm. We had the Panthers, Huey P. and Bobby Seale, Fred Hampton. We had motherfucking Khalid Muhammad.
How quickly white males fall apart in the face of black women excellence. My wife's school, University of South Carolina, just dismantled the University of Connecticut. 62-48 in the Final Four. Dominant, complete, done. Dawn Staley coached her team to a 14-point win, and they're heading to the national championship again. And what does Gino do? Storms across the court, gets in her face, and has to be pulled away. And then it gets better. When asked about his behavior, he brought up protocol, saying that she did not shake his hand prior to the game. But she did shake his hand. It's even on videotape. So then he blames the ref, and then he tone polices Dawn about the way she talks to the officials. White males, we are something else. A powerful black woman outperforms us, as they do in every workplace, every day, and our response is to have an emotional meltdown in front of the whole country. My Caucasian brother could have just said, wow, they were a much better team today. She definitely outcoached me. That was really impressive. But he couldn't do it because his fragility was so loud. But the scoreboard was even louder. White man, it's time for us to grow the hell up. I hope this helps.
Can't have sex with a white man. I can't. I've been to Africa. This is personal, Kendra G. And I want to say this to all my black women who date outside their race. I support you because I understand it. But in Kendra G's personal manner, I've been to Africa, I've been to Ghana, I've been to the Elmina Castle, and I took the tours. And it's one thing to read about slavery. It's another thing to really, and if you go, you will understand what I'm talking about. You can still feel our ancestors in these caves. And they give you, there's a church upstairs while women are being raped. And there's one part in El Mena Castle that it was like the slave masters would be at top, and then the black women will come, and they would pick out which one they wanted to have sex with. And so for me, I can't, like I said,
unsee that.
I can't unsee that.
Unfeel that.
And the wealthiest man ever that has ever tried to court me. And I knew that I still could never have sex with him just because of my ancestors. Like, I am doing this for black. Like, everything I'm doing is to put it in the black category. I live in Beverly Hills and I'm black as hell. Like, I act very black and I do it on purpose because we belong in every space. You're not going to take us out of anything. And as a black woman, that just, like, it's really important to me.
So we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. You know,
one sentence that exposes the entire financial system, and most people's brains glitch when they hear it. If the government can print unlimited money, why do they need your taxes? Look, your chest felt that before your mind tried to explain it away, because your instincts know exactly what this means. The system was never built to support you. It was built to extract you. Governments don't tax you because they need money. They can print trillions overnight. They tax you because they need control, compliance, and forced participation in their currency. And here's where it gets wild. If they stop taxing you, the entire illusion collapses in under a decade. Look, taxes do three things. 1, they force you to use their currency. 2, they force you to work for their currency. 3, they force you to stay plugged into a system that mathematically is designed to make you poorer every single year. Inflation is the real tax, the one they don't ask permission for. They dilute the money supply and your savings shrink while you sleep. Look, inflation steals more from you than the IRS ever will. And here's the part nobody wants to acknowledge. If your income does not grow faster than inflation, you're not middle class, you're slowly shrinking. But the system keeps telling you you're fine because you're still breathing. So when Bukele said that line, he wasn't being rebellious. He was telling you what the elites pray you never understand. Money is not scarce. Your awareness is. So look, a money system with a fixed supply does not let them dilute your life force. It doesn't let them print away your time. It doesn't let them reset the game every decade while you start over at level 1. That's why alternative systems terrify governments. Not because they're dangerous, but because they're uncomfortable. And if you're feeling something in your chest right now, that's not anxiety. That's your field recognizing truth it was never supposed to hear. Comment, scroll, and get your scroll scan. If you're waking up financially, your soul is waking up too.
Indeed, 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 indeed. Shout out to Brosy. We are at the 1 hour and a half mark, ladies and gentlemen. I want to bring a word from our sponsors, V-Cell Seamoss. We will be right back. Get yourself a stretch, some water, or you could go and get your Seamoss. All right. Shout out to our sponsors, V-Cell Seamoss. Make sure y'all get your V-Cell Seamoss and get your vitamins. All right. Get your Seamoss. This is right out the jar. You don't have to prepare it. You don't have to do anything but refrigerate it. And it tastes like applesauce.
V-Cell in my cup, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by Seamoss. Flow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Run it up, 99 minerals, flaws. V-Cell in my cup, I'm feeling right. Sip to the sunrise, dance to the night. From the ocean's kiss to your city lights. 21 flavors, pure health in every bite. Drip so clean, we're custom made. From reef to street, we elevate. Gold green gel, set the record straight. Nature in a bottle, that's a better way. Charge me up, no caffeine crash. Clean energy, Steady splash from skin to gut, yeah, we live from within. Oneness on 10, let the rhythm begin. Pour it up, pour it up. Feel the wave, body thanking me. Every save, ocean wisdom in this glass. We sell magic, see moss. They sell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by sea moss. Glow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, floss. Island breeze in the city maze. We're mineral rich in 1,000 ways. Immunity high like the summer rays. Hydrate the hustle, fuel your days. Berry, mango, ginger, lime. Pick your flow, your flavor, your time. Beauty and balance we redefine. Every little sip, align your shine. Pour it up, feel the way. Body thanking me for every sip. Ocean wisdom in this glass. We sell magic, see moss. We sell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by sea moss. Glow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, floss. From the coral choir to the heartbeat drum. Roots run deep where the wild tides hum. Real ones know where the glow comes from. We sell in the mix now, watch us be.
In Brooklyn's shadow, dreams come alive. At dawn's new light, let your spirit thrive. Breathe in courage, let your strength ascend. Dark fire rise and let the power blend. Your aura's a beacon, luck finds its way. With bold steps forward, seize a new day. Shout it proud, success is my own fate. I'm glimmering now, it's time to elevate. I'm a magnet for dreams, success my claim. In sync with fortune, dancing in the game. Wealth cascades freely, triumph ignites, my heart's ready, soaring to new heights. Gentle, it's a rhythm in your soul's beat. Fueling your drive, making goals complete. Your aura's a magnet, attracting sway. Dance with prosperity night into day. Riches may flow, but spirit stands tall. Growth the reward, answering the call. Money's a vessel, clarity's the map. No rush needed, wealth's in your grasp. No need to scheme, to hustle or to plead. Just rise up strong, live in your creed. Don't chase, simply receive what's conceived. Feel the rhythm of wealth you're meant to achieve.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Make sure you are tapped into the Imaginarium. Make sure you are tapped into our workshop, our Imaginarium workshop. As a matter of fact, we are going to have Original Black God as a special guest this Friday. We are on week number 10, ladies and gentlemen. The Imaginarium is an online community, and the workshop that we have is a 90-day workshop, and we are coming together to tap into the fantasy complex industry and create comics, cartoons, short films, and animations from our ancestors, right? Anything, all of the characters, all of the stories, all of the narratives, all of the folklore that we have in our imagination is coming to the surface, all right? This is a community of creatives, of entrepreneurs, of visionaries, of artists, of concept artists, directors, orchestrators, and owners, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, scan the QR code. I'm going to put a QR code on the screen. I want you to scan the QR code and join us for our 90-day workshop. When you join, you will have access to all of the courses or the sessions that we've already done. We are already 9 deep, 9 sessions in. Each session has lessons. They go about a minimum 3 hours. Information in these sessions will put you on path to be a part of the Imaginarium, and it will show you how to make film, how to make AI films. It will show you how to make commercials, how to tap into your advertisement. If you're an artist and you want to do music videos, you'll be able to learn the steps, the formulas, and the methods and the frameworks through the Imaginarium, the tech stack, the tool stack, the science behind a lot of the things that we are doing in our creative bags. So yeah, I look forward to seeing the family pulling up and being a part of the Imaginarium. Shout out to everybody that is a part of the SKOOL community. The QR code for the SKOOL is on the screen. There's a free entry. There's free tiers inside of the SKOOL community. You can actually join the SKOOL community, get familiar with the community, find out what's going on before you choose to make a purchase to become a part of the workshop. You could just be a part of our online school. So scan the QR code above the live sign, and that will give you the entry into our school community. Now, directly after this show is over, Blue Pill is going to be in the building with our brother Sharif Bey. All right. Blue Pill will be following up. You have a double whammy. Okay. You have a double whammy tonight. All right. You'll have Red Pill and you'll also have Blue Pill immediately afterwards at 9 p.m. Okay. No, 8 p.m. Right? 8 p.m. You're gonna have our good brother Sharif Bey and Poe Pablo in the building. You know what I mean? So y'all gonna get the Kung Fu, the double header, the Melanin Monday double header. You know what I'm talking about? Can't beat us, join us. So yeah, let us continue. Let us continue. We still got some things. So I want to get into this conversation because this is a big conversation. And I'm seeing, before I get into that, shout out to everybody who was in the building for the 10 Claw Commandments. I had over 200 plus people in the building, and I just made that announcement. I had just made that. Matter of fact, hold on.
If you've been laid off, passed over, or just tired of building.
Shout out to everybody that pulled up on 4/4. I had made the announcement on the 2nd, and I already had 200 something plus people in the building. Whoever was in the chat, who was in the 10 Claw Commandments, give me a shout out. Let us know that you're in the building. Salute to you and yours and whatnot. It was about 2 hours and change, but I was able to speak to 200 some odd people in the build, 200 some odd KT aliens, 200 plus prospective futurists, and give them a vision of a future that is now. You don't gotta wait for it. It's something going down right now. It's a revolution going on right now. There's a boom taking place right now, and I'm putting everybody on. I can't hold it. I'm not a gatekeeper. I want to share the wealth. You feel me? I want to share the wealth. So we're going to probably do another one before the 18th, but ultimately, beyond all reasonable doubt, if you want to get your mind elevated, I'll see you in Techno Tuesdays tomorrow. We have a special guest that I'm introducing, bringing to the platform. But if you really want to level up, and this is not hyperbole, the 18th, the 19th, and the 20th, you could be in a cave in Iran. You could be underwater with Gerald and them, right? Building out their cities and whatnot. You could be in Artemis in space with the brother that's doing moisture shea butter on his feet while going around the space station. You could be in the hood, in the trenches. You could be in a Beverly Hills mansion. You could be in the big island of Hawaii on a volcano. It don't matter. You could tap in, both live stream, or you could be there on the land in North Carolina in real life, right? But we're going to be leveling up for 72 hours on April the 18th, the 19th, and the 20th.
If you've been laid off, passed over, or just tired of building somebody else's dream, listen close, because what's happening right now in AI is not a trend. It's a transfer of power, and the window is open. There is a new class of operator emerging. They're not coders, they're not corporations. They're the designers, the visionaries, the builders who finally have a machine that matches their imagination. It's called the Claw Bot, and it doesn't just generate ideas, it executes them autonomously, on command, while you sleep. The agentic AI boom is here. Agents that write, build, publish, automate, and operate without hand-holding. And the people learning to command them right now. They're the ones who are going to own the next 5 years. Not the ones waiting for a job posting. Not the ones watching from the sidelines. The builders, the ones who show up. That's why we built the OpenClaw 72-hour boot camp. 72 hours to go from zero to operator. You'll build your first clawbot, deploy your first agentic workflow, and walk out with leverage you can monetize immediately. 3 days, real skills, no fluff. The revolution doesn't wait, neither should you. Link is live. Get in where you fit in. The evolution will be digitized.
In Beijing, hosted by internet giant Baidu, hundreds of people line up to get OpenClaw onto their laptops and phones. The Austrian-designed AI agent is all the rage in China. At this gathering in Beijing, hosted by internet giant Baidu, hundreds of people line up to get OpenClaw onto their laptops and phones. The Austrian-designed AI agent is all the rage in China.
Events teaching people how to use OpenClaw, or raise a lobster, as Chinese people say, are popping up across the country. This one is a full house.
OpenClaw has become really hot.
China has already surpassed the US in adopting the open source software, which can run anything on a computer for you without you. You can tell it to search the web, buy plane tickets, even direct other bots. Wang Xiaoyan is using it to build her one-man band of a business, referred to in China as a one-person company. Human employees need rest, but OpenClaw can run 24/7, she says.
The mania over raising a lobster is, in theory, exactly what the Chinese government wants. Last summer, Beijing unveiled a blueprint meant to heat up the economy by diffusing AI across 90% of industries and all society by 2030.
The government pushing, making a direction, and so that's why the big enterprise like Tencent, Alibaba have the motivation to build the open cloud better for normal people.
Local governments are in on the game.
Fam, I don't chase the hype. This is not a hype train, and this is definitely not something where I'm doing something that I have not spent more than 10,000 hours studying, and I'm still studying it. But I promise you, I'm bringing you solutions when there are mass distractions going on right now. The future is in your hands. The future is here. We are going to be the ones that are going to change the future. It's going to come from us. You feel me? Not us, and particularly those of us who are active right now, those of us who get right to it. We are going to be the ones who are going to be able to do what? Have a vision for 100 years, a 30-30 vision, not a 20-30, a 30-30, right? You might not be able to think in 100-year terms if you're thinking in lack and whatnot, if you don't know where your next dollar is coming from, you feel me? Or if you just think that you're going to be a thousandaire, or if you just think that you're going to rest on a 401k. Nah, we're thinking super big. We're thinking quantum right now. I apologize for anybody if I take off and leave, but you know, it's really time to lock in. Well, I'm telling you, the 72-hour boot camp in the Carolinas. Don't wait for the next one either, because the next one is not gonna be nothing like the first one. Every single one of the boot camps are going to be unique in their own way. You need this right here. Time is waiting for no one. We live in the quantum quickening. By the time you get up with me the next time, it's gonna probably already be too late. You know what I'm saying? The advantage right now is being early. That's why they in China making sure that they line up to get their clawbot set up, because they understand what the hell is going on right now and they're taking full advantage. I want y'all to take full advantage. You lose nothing. You actually getting this at a super discount. They're doing this at $5,000 around. It's $5,000 to do boot camps with anything clawbot related right now. If going into hooking up a clawbot to a Fortune 500 company, it starts at a minimum of $5,000. Go and do the research on that. Go and do research on that. Just one clawbot, They're selling claw bots between $5,000 and $10,000 to Fortune 500s just to set it up. They want $4,000. I'm telling y'all, let's lock in for 72 hours at $444, and we got discount codes. And then the ones online is at $333, and that's for 72 hours. I'm talking about locked in, taking breaks only to rest ourselves and to tap into nature. So, make your next move your best move. It's gonna have to sell. It's selling itself. You know what I mean? You'll never get a deal like this ever again. And I'm just here to let you know. And the reason why I'm doing it in nature is because it's such a beautiful thing that it would be a sin to do it inside and not nature get a piece of this evolutionary movement that we're about to build up. I want us to tap into Mother Earth. I want us to tap into the sun. I want us to receive the neutrinos, to build up our auras and whatnot, to get the downloads, to get charged up, to be off the grid, because ultimately utilizing this technology is going to help us build our communities off the grid 100x and 10x faster. We ain't going to do that shit selling shea butter. I give up on that one. You know what I'm talking about? We're not going to do that doing lectures. You know what I mean? We're not going to do that shaking a cup or doing no goddamn crowdfunding and whatnot, or no susu. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, then there would be all type of cul-de-sacs and communities, and you know what I mean? There would be a lot of things already in motion. But now it's in motion. We have the power of a supercomputer in our hands. All you got to do is tap in, and we'll take it from there. Did I steer you wrong yet? So this one right here is another one of the upgrades. We've been sharing upgrades with the family nonstop for damn near, for many, many years. But in this lane right here, in this niche right here, we've been going hard body with this information since 2020. Back to back to back to back, 100 income streams. Now it's a reality. The evolution will be digitized. That's in 2015. You feel me? The Facts Initiative, food, art, clothes, technology, shelter. Wait till that shit gets run through the claw bot. Wait till I claw that up. You know what I'm talking about? Oh my goodness. You know what I mean? Wait till that runs through. Wait till I run that shit through anti-gravity and all of them other bro. It is all the way up. We started with the crypto, putting people on back then. Shout out to Crypto Bully. You feel me? You got in early. You got right. You got in at the last day before graduation. You damn right you didn't pass the class, because that you were cutting school. You was playing hooky, my nigga. We been rang the bell. We've been told you to come into the homeroom and whatnot. People be skipping homeroom, and they go to school in the third year and whatnot, and they be mad because they failing the test and they're not passing the test and whatnot. If your ass was locked in and you was motherfucking studious and dubious and you were consistent, I'm following the edicts of Napoleon Hill. He said, be consistent. So I'm on my consistency. That's where the magic is. That's what I'm tapping into. And I'm showing you Brozy is tapped in. Chocolate Godiva is tapped in. Aubrey Bram is tapped in. You know what I'm saying? Aubrey Bram is tapped in. You know what I mean? Consistency, being consistent, standing on top of this shit, standing on business, even if it's just for one theater. We have different teachers to teach in different theaters, but consistency. But check this out. This is coming up right now after 8:00. Brother Sharif will be live on KTL. So make sure you are in the building for the guard. All right. The guard is going to be in the building. So please make sure you are tapped in for that. The Blue Pillar. Shout out to Blue Pillar 44. Shout out to all of my KTLians in Imaginarium. And shout out to everybody that's in the building for the 10 Claw Commandments. And shout out to everybody that will be in the Carolinas for our 72-hour lock-in. Okay. Our boot camp that we got with Open Claw. It's going to be a seafood boil. We're going to be a seafood boil. You know what I'm talking about? We cooking up, and we're going to be eating good as well. You know what I mean? And we'll be eating good as well. So that's just what it is. let's get back into the information. But I just need to let you know that this thing is not a hype. It's not a hype beast thing. It's not trendy or nothing. It's going down. It's real. It is real. Okay. So I want y'all to get this information. But tap into Techno Tuesdays tomorrow and you'll hear more about the 10 Claw Commandments. And everybody that was in the building on Saturday, look in your emails tonight. You're going to have an email of the replay. So you'll be able to tap in and study it and do your research and your due diligence and tap in with us for the 18th and to the 20th. Okay. That's in a few weeks. All right. Let's go into the archives. Let's pull up some more information. So the talk of the town that I'm going to talk about right now, that a lot of sentiment is changing. I'm seeing people switch up their sentiments when it comes to this story and whatnot. But let's talk a little bit about our boys out of Memphis, you know what I mean? And the boys out of Atlanta, 4-4 day. Let's talk about Big Gucci. Let's talk about Big Gucci, you know, and Shice in the whole situation with Pooh Shiesty. Okay. So many people are echoing the sentiments that I had shared the first time I heard the story. And yeah, they letting it be known. So
think of, right, that might be going on is Gucci Mane telling. That's Keisha doing it. That's his wife. His wife making him tell. What I don't know is, but what it looked like is, if Watt made a statement or not. I don't know if he made a statement, but it looked like it.
WAP got all of the hood niggas in their feelings, man. Switching sides. You know what I mean? Switching up on the boy. You know, they out there switch siding and all of that. But there's a commentary by Derek Grace that kind of sums up a lot of what's going on, because I don't want to get caught up in no frivolousness of that case and whatnot. I don't want to be distracted. I would rather listen to somebody who has the facts. So DG comes through with some of the facts, and you know, the facts. I'm a reporter. I like to hear more of a factual, not an emotional, not how, yeah, I feel like he should have did that because I would have, you know what I'm saying? You can't trap me in no contract. Yeah, you do, yeah, that's not how you carry us. Yeah, all of that is cool and everything, but that's not what we talking about. You know what I mean? And I don't have no horse in that race. I'm looking at karma. I'm looking at the real life version of Carlito's Way with Benny Blanco slamming out Carlito. I'm looking at a lot of things and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the making of you know, I'm looking at an anti-hero, the making of a Killmonger in a sense. You know, I'm looking at a theater, right? So I'm very aware of what I'm paying attention to, but DG comes with the facts. So let's just go through the facts, all right? Let's check it out.
All right, y'all keep asking. I'm finna give y'all what y'all want. We're gonna get into the criminal complaint of the Pooh Shiesty case, and I'm gonna give y'all the official Grace Key breakdown. Let's get into it. All right, y'all, so first and foremost, this right here, this is an official federal criminal complaint, not social media, not rumors, not blogs. This is paperwork from the United States District Court in the good old state of Texas. So off the rip, y'all, this shit is 100% real. Now look at the top. It says sealed. That means at first this case was kept private while the feds were building it. So by the time you, me, everybody else seeing it, man, the motherfuckers already been working behind the scenes, getting the job done. Now let's get involved. Let's get into who's involved. Y'all see all the names listed. That's 9 defendants total, not just one person. This is what they call a group case, which means the feds believe multiple people work together. Now right here, this part matters heavy. It says the date of the alleged crime is 1/10/26. So everything they saying about accusing them of is tied to that specific date. This right here is the most important part. It says 18 USC 1201 A and C. I know that sounds confusing, so let me break it down. That's the federal law for kidnapping and conspiracy to commit kidnapping, meaning they're not just saying some random shit happened. They're saying it was absolutely planned, it was absolutely coordinated. So when you see the word conspiracy, let me simplify that. That means the government believes people agreed to do this shit beforehand. Not random, not heat of the moment, but planned, which is going to maximize and upgrade them charges on a whole new level. And this line right here, it says the case is based on an affidavit from the FBI agent. That's important too, because I mean the FBI already gathered evidence and wrote a sworn statement to justify these charges. And just look at the date. It's filed March 30th, 2026. So from January to March, they was building the case before even making it public. I'm gonna simplify this whole page for y'all. This ain't evidence yet. This is just the government officially saying we believe a kidnapping happened, we believe multiple people planned it, and we got enough evidence to start charging everybody involved in this shit. Translation in real life, this is just simply the start of a federal case, not the end. But once it gets to this point, your ass is already in too deep. All right, y'all, so let's continue the simplification for those who don't understand, because a lot of y'all would read this shit and be confused. But this is one of the most...
Right. These fake internet lawyers, the 1080 Jakes, and people that are out there for frivolous clickbait. They need clickbait. They need they're moving in whatever direction will make their video get clicks. They don't have no moral attachment. They don't have no legal grounds to necessarily stand on. You know what I mean? Even when I see them reviewing cases and whatnot, they're not good. They're giving more of opinions. You feel me? They're doing reactions. They're not giving you the law, right? They're not giving you the law. So let my bro continue, because he's sticking more to facts and helping people learn how to interpret federal paperwork.
important parts of the entire case. First off, this is called an affidavit. Let me break it down real simple. This is basically the FBI saying, hey, we putting this shit in writing, we swearing this on the oath, and we believe this is true based on our investigation. So the person writing this is, of course, FBI special agent. That's not just a random officer, that's federal law enforcement. And she's basically introducing herself like, hey, I've been trained, I worked on robberies, kidnapping, violent crime, I know how criminals get the fuck down. Now let me simplify what that really means. She's just simply telling the judge, I'm experienced enough to recognize when something is organized, I know what setup looks like, and I know how people plan crimes. And this part right here is key. She says she understands how people use cell phones, vehicles, and social media.
Yes, sir. That's Derek Grace. That's one of the shifters. That's one of the paradigms. That's DG right there. Yes, indeed.
To commit crimes. So let me translate that for y'all again. That means from the jump, they're already looking at digital evidence, not just what happened, but how it was actually coordinated piece by piece. Now, this next paragraph is real important. She says the affidavit is based on the following: her own knowledge and information from other officers and people involved. So I'm gonna simplify that too. This ain't just one person talking. This is multiple sources, multiple pieces of information, all being put together to make this puzzle make complete sense. And then she says something a lot of people miss. She says, I have not included every fact. That's a major red flag for the people who want to get out of this shit. That means what you're reading right now is only part of what they actually know. So let me say it again so it hits. This is not the full case. This is just enough to get the charges rolling and approved. So just simply imagine what they're not showing yet. And then she says this phrase right here. They favorite one, probable cause. Let me break that down real simple. That means the FBI is telling the judge we have enough evidence to reasonably believe that this crime happened and these motherfuckers are involved. And once they establish probable cause, that's when the court says, all right, we can move forward with the charges. Let's round them up, lock them up, and hit them with the charges. So let me simplify this whole page for you in real life terms. The FBI is saying we investigated this, we gathered evidence from multiple sources, we understand how this was planned, and we have enough to officially charge them. And that part y'all got to understand is this. This ain't even trial yet. This ain't conviction yet. This is just the beginning. So everybody that's trying to write niggas off and get them 100 years, sit the fuck down and just patiently wait. Find you a life and something to do in the meantime. But anyway, we're not dealing with opinions anymore. We're dealing with the federal case that's already been built. All right, y'all. So the section that y'all currently seeing behind me now, this is where shit pretty much get real, and they're gonna start listing out niggas' whole governments. This is them officially listing out who they believe was involved, not rumors, not allegedly on the internet. These are the names the feds are putting in the case. You see all the names with date of birth, correct? That's how the federal system typically identifies people. No confusion, no mix up. This is them saying these are the motherfuckers we are targeting in this investigation, and then they label them right there as is target suspects. So let me simplify that part too. That means these are the people that the FBI believes are directly involved in the situation. This is who this entire case will be built around. So let's go back up to the paragraph at the top, because this is the legal language that most people usually don't understand. It says knowingly, combining, conspiring, and agreeing. I'm gonna break that down as well. That means the government is saying these people didn't just show up. They agreed to do this together, and they were absolutely working as a team. And then they list all these words: seizing, confining, decoying, kidnapping, abducting. Y'all, that's not just extra wording. That's the law covering every way that someone can be taken or controlled. And let me translate that into real terms. They simply saying the motherfucker was lured in, they was trapped, they couldn't leave, and it was done for the purpose of money, control, or benefit. Now, this is the part right here where it gets real clear. See that section going back to that probable cause where the overview of the kidnapping, and then it says, of course, the details. January 10th, 2026, around 4:50 p.m., Dallas, Texas, 3 victims were kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint inside a music studio. I'm gonna simplify that as well. The FBI is officially stating this wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't just an argument. These people were absolutely held against their will. A weapon was involved, and property for sure was snatched off all their asses. And that right there is what turns this into a federal kidnapping case. Because once you involve force, confinement, and weapons, you're not just talking about robbery anymore. And notice how they use initials for the victims: RD, MMBP. That's to protect identities, even though we know a motherfucking superstar rapper was involved. But I'm gonna simplify this whole page specifically for you. This is just simply the government saying, here are the exact people who we believe were involved. Here's how we believe they worked together. And here's the moment we say the crime happened. Once they put this in writing, this becomes the foundation of the case. Translation: this ain't speculation no more. This is the official story the feds are about to try to prove when they hit the courtroom. All right, y'all, so when we step over this page, we get into the actual play-by-play of what the feds say happened that day. Now, this right here starts around 1 p.m. on January 10th, 2026. The victims flying to Dallas. I'm gonna simplify that. The people traveled thinking they were just coming for business, not to get the fucking business. And not just for regular people. They came with security. That part is super important because I tell you right there, they wasn't expecting no street shit. They thought this was a legit business meeting. And who they coming to meet? They coming to meet Pooh Shiesty about his contract with the 1017 label. We know what this is all about. Or at least what we speculate what we know it's about. Now, this part matters heavy. It says he was upset with his contract and wanted to be released from it. So he requested this meeting. And I'm going to simplify that. According to the feds, he asked them to come to Dallas to talk business about getting out of the contract. Now, fast forward. At around 1:45 p.m., they get to the location, a recording studio inside the office building. And here's where shit get interesting. The studio is closed. So now they're just waiting around. And while they're waiting, they make a run to the liquor store. They buy liquor, they buy cups, they spin the block, and they double on back. And at this point, as you can tell, if you read it, but anyway, they're comfortable, they're chilling, they are not on edge. They are not expecting anything crazy to happen. That's important to understand the mindset of the victims in this whole situation. Now watch this part. This is where the setup starts tightening. It says that his father is calling the studio owner multiple times that same day trying to book the studio. Then around 2:53 p.m., studio owner finally answers, and then around 3:15 p.m., the studio gets open. Everybody makes their way inside. And this is where the feds, quote unquote, start connecting the dots. They say surveillance footage shows his father outside of the building. I'm going to simplify what they say about that part as well. They're painting a picture in this moment. The meeting was requested. The victims were brought there. The location was controlled, and people were already moving behind the scenes. Again, according to them, this isn't random. This is what they're trying to show as a setup in motion. And understand this. Everything you're seeing right now is time step. 1 p.m., 1:45, 2:53, 3:15 p.m. That is how federal and state cases get built. They don't just say what happened. They show when everything happens step by step. So I'm going to simplify this whole page for you in real life terms. This is just a fair saying. The victims were invited there. They believed it was business. They were comfortable and not expecting danger. Meanwhile, these other motherfuckers is arranging shit behind the scenes. And this is an important part for court because it helps them prove intent, planning, and control of the situation. What's the translation? They just showing you how this wasn't no accident or no random argument. This was something that was already in motion before anything went down. All right, y'all. So I see the pictures coming into play. It's going to get more interesting. Look at the top. You see these pictures? That's surveillance footage. This ain't somebody telling the story. This is camera footage being used as actual evidence. As you can see, it says around 3:27 p.m. His father's outside of the building and on the phone. And then around 3:28 p.m., he enters the building. Let me slow that down for y'all. They are tracking this man minute by minute if you ain't picking up what they're putting down. And I'm gonna explain why that matters. Because in federal and state too, but in federal cases, time is evidence. If they can show where you were and when you were there, that connects you to everything that happens in the next frame of things. Let's keep going. At around 3:39 p.m., a studio employee shows up. And when that employee arrives, they see both him and his father at the back door arguing on the phone. I'm gonna translate again. What the feds are simply showing at this moment, y'all, is that people are already in position. They already communicating and something is going on before the real shit pop off, aka the robbery, kidnapping, XYZ. Now watch this part because this is where it gets real structured. At 3:43 p.m., they say multiple suspects entered the building together. Not one person, not two, but goddamn multiple. And they list them all out, walking through the lobby, going into the studio, digging in their nose, farting, anything a nigga could do, they got it rolled out here. I'm gonna simplify it again. This is what they call coordinated movement. That's how they build conspiracy, because now it looks like people arriving together, moving together, and entering together. And this is the part right here where shit gets super duper critical. They say one of the individuals leaves the building and then comes back with a bag over his shoulder. I'm gonna pause it right there, right? Because this is where the feds start to build their own narrative. What they're doing in this moment is very simple and a normal tactic. They're showing movement in and out, a bag being brought in right before all the bullshit goes down. And if you connect that to what we already talked about, and also a weapon coming from the bag, you can already tell where they're going with this. This is how they build a story without even fucking speaking. They use video, time, and movement to show what they believe was about to happen. And then at the bottom, they confirm that with one of the people involved as rapper also known as Big 30. So now they chime identities into the whole thing as well. I'm gonna simplify the whole page again like I've been doing for real life terms. This is simply the fact saying we have surveillance footage showing people in places at the scene. We tracked the movement down to the minute. We saw people entering the building. We saw people leaving the building, and we saw the bag. When you combine all of that, they're building the picture that, again, this was not random. This was coordinated step by step. Translation is simple. They're not just telling the judge what happened. They're showing the motherfuckers in real time. All right, y'all. So we're officially inside the building, and y'all can see for yourselves. It says all 9 individuals enter the studio control room. Let me slow that down. Not one person, not two, but all 9 individuals into the control room. I'm gonna translate what the feds are showing. Everybody that's being charged, number 1, was physically inside the space, number 2, and it was in that motherfucker at the same time, number 3. That is important for proving conspiracy. Now look at what the victims were doing. They were inside. They were watching a football game. Basically what the feds are trying to convey right here is that they were relaxed. They were comfortable. They're not expecting any danger. They think it's just a regular business environment. They're just chilling while the bosses do what bosses do. But now pay attention to the positioning, because this is how the feds build control. It says one person CW was in the lobby while another person stayed outside in the vehicle. I'm going to translate what they're saying again. Someone inside is watching the movement. Someone outside is monitoring. That is what they call in the legal world positioning. Now look at these pictures. Excuse me, these aren't random photos. These are police body cam footage, crime scene photos taken the very same night. So now the feds are not just telling a story. They're showing you their exact They about to roll out a whole motherfucking motion picture when this case hits the courtroom. All right, y'all, now back to the top. It says he was on the phone with what sounded like a probation or parole officer talking about being out for rec time. Let me simplify that. He's basically telling somebody, I got permission to be out right now. But then it says, if you're reading closely, that's the reason we break down. You ain't got to read it. He gets told, no, that's not true. And he needs to return back to where the fuck he came from immediately. Let's pause that right there because this is very, very important. That means according to what the victims heard, motherfucker wasn't even supposed to be there. And then it says, listen to me, black and white. And then it says he agreed, but clearly he did not leave. So many violations all in one. And then it confirms something major. Motherfucker was wearing an ankle monitor. Let me simplify that for y'all as well. That means he was under some form of federal supervision. You know that shit I told y'all about 2-3 weeks ago when I made a video about, bro? A federal case while already under federal monitoring. Y'all, that's serious business to go do some more motherfucking business on top of it. Now watch how everything escalates from this point. One of the victims says, we can just reschedule. Basically trying to just keep it business. But then he asked to speak privately in another room. I'm going to translate that as well. That's called separation. That's isolating one person from the group. So at this point, right, remember, you got some people in the room, you got some people in another, because that is going to play a huge part in the feds being able to prove that this was pre-planned and premeditated. Meanwhile, the others still in the control room, watching football, they drinking, even sharing liquor with the motherfuckers who are about to rob them. I'm going to simplify that as well. They still don't feel like they're in any danger. They still are under the notion that absolutely everything is normal. And this is where everything is going to flip for the worse even more. It says he pulls out a contract paperwork from a bag and then tells the victim to sign. When the victim says no, and now it says he becomes agitated and the argument begins. We know who the victim is, R.D. Roger Davis. Anyway, I'm going to translate that as well. That just went from business to pressure. And in the real world, boys and girls, you can't do this type of shit. And then it says the conversation starts getting intense to the point where somebody takes security in the lobby. So now at this point, we got a tension building. We got an argument taking place. We got people around who paying attention to understand in the slightest what's going on right now. He then tells another person, go get the bag. That person leaves. They follow directions from boss man. They come back with the bag. And then it says he pulls out what appears to be a AK style pistol, points it at the victim, demanding again that he sign the paperwork. Y'all, I'm going to simplify yet again, even though I don't think I need to simplify this part. According to the feds, this started as a business meeting. It turned into pressure. It turned into isolation. It turned into an argument. Then a weapon got introduced. And now it becomes force. And that's exactly why this turns into what they said in the beginning: kidnapping, armed robbery, and conspiracy. Because once the weapon gets involved and somebody can't freely leave about that motherfucker, it's no longer a discussion. I'm going to simplify the whole page in real life terms. If you still ain't picking up what I'm putting on, the feds saying, we believe this was planned. We believe pressure was applied. We believe a weapon was used to force compliance. And once that happens, that's when the law changes everything, y'all. Translation, this is the moment the situation allegedly crossed the line from business to a federal crime. All right, y'all, so now according to the feds, the victim ends up signing the paperwork. But let me be clear, that was absolutely not voluntary, and it's not going to stand up. Even if they was free to go, it ain't going to stand up later on. It says he signed it while being held at gunpoint, so I'm going to simplify that as well. Number one, he didn't have a choice. He couldn't leave, and force was absolutely used. And it even says he was not allowed to leave the room. That is 100% key. Plug. You need to get your fucking grace, because a lot of y'all don't know shit about that. But anyway, once you can't leave freely, that's when kidnapping comes in. Now watch this part. It says another person pulled out a phone and records him signing the paperwork. They document it, not just forcing it. These motherfuckers going above and beyond because they think this shit gonna stand up at a later date to set him free from this contract. Boy, your ass ain't going free, nor is you going free from that contract. It even says he was forced to say verbally at his own mouth, I'm releasing him from the contract. And let me simplify that. This is an illegal word, it's called pressure and control. They're trying to make it look official, even though it's being forced. And after the paperwork gets signed, that's when it turns into a robbery. It says, again, black and white above my head and behind me, it says they took the wedding ring, the watch, the earrings, and the cash. Let me pause that right there, because now you got forced paperwork and you got property being taken. Those are two separate crimes that are going to be stacked up against every individual that was involved in this shit. And this part right here is important as well. After he signs, the paperwork get handed to his father, and then the father doubles back and says it needs to be dated. So they then go back and force him to add the date next to his signature. They're not just forcing the signature, they're making sure the paperwork looks legit. That is 1000% intent, and that is how you end up with a case that your ass probably won't fuck around and beat. Well, you know, these are all allegations at this point. Anyway, yeah, as they leave the room, the rest of the group pull out their weapons. It says handguns, and it says AR and AK style pistols. From there, they start demanding property from the other victims, and I guess they like, fuck it, it's a free for all. We're just gonna rob all these niggas. So let me break that down. This ain't just one isolated situation no more. Now it's affecting multiple people at once. And it says one of the victims gets pushed onto the couch while someone goes through his pocket. Someone goes through his pockets and take his wallet. And then another chain gets taken off his neck. I don't know if y'all like picking up when I'm putting down the emphasis on putting on certain statements. Niggas just stacking the charges in for what? One person is forced to sign paperwork at gunpoint. Another one robbed. The other one held at gunpoint. And another nigga got robbed too, all inside the same location. And this is why the motherfucking charges stack up like they do. Because now you got kidnapping, armed robbery, conspiracy, and multiple victims. And the more people involved, the more serious this shit get every time. So I'm going to simplify the whole page that you're looking at behind me right now in real life terms. This is Fed saying force was used, people were not free to leave, property was taken, and it happened to multiple individuals. And once you combine all that, that's how you build a case that can carry motherfucking life sentence. Translation, at this point, they're not just telling the story. They laying out what they believe is a full-blown coordinated robbery and kidnapping with multiple victims. All right, y'all, on to the next page. This is where violence and identification comes in. Now, at the top, again, it says one of the victims was threatened to be shot just for motherfucking moving. So I'm going to simplify that as well.
So they put a white boy life in danger, committing federal crimes, right? Not state crimes, federal crimes, dragged the white boy in Dallas, Texas, right? Not Memphis, right? Because I don't know how they do it with the white folk, but in Dallas, Texas, with the good old boys, right? They pistol whipped and stripped a Rolex off of the neck of a white boy that was with Gucci Man. Damn, Keisha. Yeah, this is crazy. The reason why I'm showing y'all this, to be honest with you, is because the artist that's involved is the most out of the youth, what they call the YNs, which is a movement, right? It's a movement. It's a whole entire global movement. It's an egregor, right? An egregor. Pooh Shiesty is like on the top of that pyramid. The only one above him is probably what's his name? NBA Youngboy, right? So that's their leader. That's why they're wearing the mask. He's their leader. He's not just the aesthetic. He's not leading them just aesthetic wise. He's leading them with the collective hive mind, right? Like NBA Youngboy has a hive mind like Vecna on the youth, and he's making them kill like Vecna. The same thing, Vecna, Henry from Stranger Things, right? That would be NBA Youngboy with all of the youth right now that's out there killing shit, like super gremlin type way. Not just killing shit, like massacring shit, cartel type shit, right? Youngboy, Kodak, and Pooh Shiesty is a three-headed dog. Woo, that was deep. Youngboy, and we're talking deaf culture, y'all. I'm exposing y'all to some of the deaf culture, some of the figures remember these are archetypes, right? People attach their personas to archetypes. People, a Roderick Davis, right? A Sean Carter, a Chad Butler, all of these people, right? They attach them, a Curtis Jackson, they attach their personas to an archetype. With Curtis Jackson, he attached himself to the archetype of the gangster, and he attached himself to the real 50 Cent, and he was the quote unquote studio version of 50 Cent. But he attached himself, he wrapped an archetype. So niggas wrap archetypes and give it a name, and then boom, you could make a song with that nigga, and that's an archetype and a persona. It could become an avatar. It becomes a brand. See how that works? And you know how people be like, yo, I started out rapping and this was my name, but then my niggas started calling me this and whatnot in the studio, and then I became that. Like Future, his first name was Meathead. Rick Ross, his first name was Teflon. You feel me? There's a lot of artists who had original first names. That first name is a different persona. It's like a different hard drive. It's a different entity. It responded to the drum of a different beat, had a different flow, right? People are embodying archetypes. So Pooh Shiesty, he represents an archetype that millions upon millions upon millions of these young gremlins and whatnot, the shooters, the killers, you feel me? The YNs, the uncontrolled ones, the chaos magicians. You know what I'm talking about? The Inkies, right? The Gremlins. That's Little Dirk was the one they were following his the Pied Piper. He was all, I would say that the three-headed dog is Dirk. I would say that the three-headed dog would be Dirk for the crash out culture, which is I won't even, YNs is just an aspect of crash out culture, but crash out culture is the egregor, right? And the three-headed is Smirk, right? Because he was about smacking shit. Young Boy and Pooh Shiesty right now. Yep. Henceforth, his biggest song is Get It Back in Blood with Shiesty and Dirk. So when people are wearing those shiesties and whatnot, they're tapping into the archetype that represents Pooh Shiesty. Okay? Not to say that he was the first one to do it, not to say that he did that intentionally, but that's what that's drawing from. So this case where he did it Carlito's way, he's Benny Blanco and Gucci Man is Carlito. Symbolically, it's the youth going against the that old guard and whatnot, right? In the theater, in what you would call the nigga theater or the chitlin. This is a chitlin circuit blockbuster right here. This is a Tubi movie. This is politics in the underworld, niggas. This is the politics in the underworld. This whole shit sets precedents. You're gonna see more things like this happen, especially if they get this nigga a bail and he's able to beat a case like that. You know, you got to understand how the streets, you got to know how this shit works, how incidents set trends or set precedents, how certain incidents have layers to it and people start picking sides and whatnot. And that's just how that's just the way that the world turns. We talking about rungs and whatnot. So this is the lower rung of the deaf culture. Just giving you a YNN report from those rungs. But oh damn, I forgot about Future, right? So I would say Kodak will probably go into a Future thing, but damn, Kodak, yeah, Future 21. You know, Future is part of that three-headed dog, but he would be the three-headed dog above the young boys though, because they putting on for him. But look, you said you 50 years old, you have no horse. Okay, I get you, brother. I know specifically. I'm gonna play this video, then we're gonna get up out of here. Let me play this one right here. This is food for thought, y'all.
Specifically, that it is not just satanic panic and they are actually practicing witchcraft is because I myself served in the military as a witch. Like, I don't know how else to put that.
And this is exactly why I never argue with people in the comments when I talk about this stuff. Because I will literally say witches, psychics, all of them work with the military. She was actually in the Navy. She also put out a video, which is deleted now, about when she joined, she started to receive messages telepathically that gave her instructions about a new program where she was able to serve as a witch, because the only people who could hear the message were other people who were gifted. They created synthetic telepathy, which is something I've posted about on this page. And she also confirmed something else that I told you, that a lot of us psychic people, a lot of us who are tapped into the energies at one point in our lives want to work for the government or go to the military because of that telepathic message. We hear that. Veterans or people who are close to veterans that knew exactly what I was talking about and was agreeing with me. And this is why I say your reality is based on your experiences and your perception. That does not mean that is the only reality in this world. There are multiple timelines for people who can do different things. And sometimes when you open your eyes and think about a possibility, you realize the world is a lot bigger and stranger.
Yes, indeed. And that is so true. And with that, I'm going to end this show, ladies and gentlemen. This broadcast that we have. Bully is the title. Melanin Mondays is the program. And your host for the evening is Brother Red Pillar. I'm going to put this thing on the floor right here. This is the QR code for all of the supporters of the show. Shout out to all of my KTLians who support us every week. All right. This is supported by the users. This platform is supported by the network. It is not supported by Google, Alphabet, Meta, or any of the technological companies. We do not receive our funding. We do not receive our support from them. This is for the people. This is for the listeners. This is for the truth seekers. Thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned. Blue Pill will be live with Brother Sharif. All right. Brother Sharif, Ana Il Bay will be in the building. This one is going to be a classic, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to end this one with the Theta Waves. Peace, love, and light. We will see you soon.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept the storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields. And interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube. And fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual. Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.
Crumb TV.